Okay, so the podcast is a It's so hard. So the podcast is called Public Display of Connection. It's a podcast where I have my favorite people on and they bring a poem that they like and then they read it, we discuss it, and then we get into more maybe deeper conversations and intimacy and talk about like where we connect and why we connect. And you might be thinking right now, hey, Aubrey, I don't like poetry. I don't get it. It makes me want to vom every time I look at it. And to that I say, maybe you just haven't read enough poems. Maybe you haven't read your poem yet that will really open you up to the idea of new ideas. And in the words of Walt Whitman, be curious, not judgmental. And you know, maybe you'll hear a poem that you connect with and you'll start racing to your local library or bookshop and screaming at the top of your lungs, where the hell is the poetry section? And I'll be waiting there in the next aisle, creepily watching you, saying, hey, I told you so, and I'll be happy for you. In this episode, we sit down with the charming and lovely Lucie Davies, who flew in all the way from Australia for my podcast. Wow, what a good friend. Lucie reads a poem by Robert Frost. We discuss indecisiveness. We discuss forks in the road, bad dates, and getting shot in the gut for taking a poem the wrong way. That's how important poetry is, you guys. You could literally die if you don't read it right, or at all. I would love for you to be a part of this and join us, and for you to read a little bit more poetry and also to read a little bit more of the people around you. Come along for the ride. Okay. Okay, so let me get adjusted. Right? Don't you want to say like adjusted? Adjusted. Every time I read it, it sounds like that to me. Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
Good. Who are you?
That's too big of a question that I can answer in one day, but I'm Lucie. I'm your friend. Yeah. I've been sleeping on your couch for the last week. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm on camera.
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay, great. Okay.
You don't have your glasses
I'm great.
on. Bless.
No. I'm not a nerd. But you're like a cute nerd, so you make it work.
I appreciate it.
Whatever, I love my glasses.
Yeah.
No,
I like your glasses
no
as
nerd
well.
shaming here.
Yeah, exactly.
I love nerds.
We have the same glasses. So.
Yeah. I like those. Those
Thank
are
you.
great.
Smile the pair.
Okay, so how did we meet? How do you come to be on this couch right now on this world-renowned podcast?
Well, we met in a hostel in Edinburgh called Castle Rock in 2015 or 16.
Yeah.
We're trying to work it out. Yeah.
2016, I think.
2016. So
Yeah.
probably about 7 years ago, I'd say, which is a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was living in the hostel and you came to stay for, how long were you there for?
Like, I think we were originally supposed to stay 2 nights, and then we ended up staying, I think, over a week. And
just a week. It felt like longer.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh.
I would have assumed it was longer. That's how it always goes. A week goes very slowly in the hostel cycle.
It's like it's kind of like a saga where you have just like these stories and then things happen and then you have like romances and drama and then you'd all just like leave and it's like this epic thing that happens, you know, and you're like say goodbye and you're just like
I live here now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I ended up living in the hostel. Was we were supposed to stay for a few nights and then just kept extending. I was there for about a year.
It was a good hostel.
Yeah, it was a good hostel.
The best hostel I think I've ever stayed in.
Huge call.
Yeah. So I remember you sent me a card, like a Christmas card in the mail, in the snail mail. And I was like, Oh my God,
I should do that again.
Who does that?
Yeah.
That's so sweet. So I remembered that, and I always thought that was like special.
That's very
I think
sweet.
I still have it.
Yeah.
It's in my little like memory box of things.
I
of,
love
like,
that. I should get
treats.
back into doing that.
Yeah.
I might, maybe at Christmas you'll see a little something in the mail from me.
Maybe I'll send you one.
Ah.
Maybe you'll also get a signed headshot, which is I am sending to Daniel because he was joking about wanting one, and I was like, I've got them from like my old days of trying to be an actor.
Please send me one of those.
Yeah, they're great. I have like a nose ring, and I'm like very like. It's great.
Different era, same Aubrey.
Yeah, I think I thought I wanted to be an actor, and then I realized that I'm not super comfortable with like vulnerability or taking direction or acting.
Sure, that'll do it. Yeah.
And then I just ended up giving that up for just bossing other people around and being behind the camera so that I don't have to go on diets or take instructions.
Sounds like you've worked it all out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see.
That's what this is for, right?
Yeah. We're all working it out.
Yeah, we are.
I'm trying to think of like how to transition into the poem in like a nice way. I guess should we just use that?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your relationship to poetry? Since this is like it's a poetry centric podcast, not everybody is so into poetry. But I think that they should be, because I think it's like a great tool for connection, and because like I don't like small talk and it bores me, and then I become a little bitchy when I have to answer the question of like, what do you do? So I like using poetry as like an intro into somebody's heart and soul. So I would like to have you introduce your poem and why you chose it, what kind of like how you found it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure thing. Or do you want me to answer the first question about my...
Did I ask you 10 questions?
Yeah, there's a few.
Whoa.
The first question you asked was like how I my relationship to poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really have much of a relationship to poetry. I'm one of those people that you were talking about who needs to read more poetry. I feel like I read poetry in school a little bit, but it's not something I've really delved into in my personal life. I don't write poetry, and I haven't read that many poems as an adult, like new poems. So I feel like this is a good place to start, and I'm hoping that will connect with some of your listeners and they can come on the path with me as well.
Ooh, I like that tagline.
Yeah, and I've read some of your poems, which I thought were very good.
Oh, thank you.
But
I didn't tell her to say that.
I'm very well trained.
I had a card on the first the pilot that we shot, and it was like question cards, and on the back of it was like, tell the host they're doing a good job, and I just was like holding it up and like thank you.
No
yeah. How did you find the poem that you're reading for us today?
Yes, well, you had this huge book of poetry that you gave me, and I was flipping through reading the names of the poets, and I recognized one of them. So I picked a poem by David Frost. I hope that's the right name. Robert Frost. White men names. All sound the same to me. What was it? John Frost.
John Frost.
Yeah, so close.
Rob Frost.
Yes, it's Rob Frost.
Yeah, I like that better.
Yeah, he should have shortened it. He lived in a different time. He's dead, so
we can't help.
We can't modernize it. No. Yes, this is my mum's favorite poem, and I remember her talking about it when I was younger. And I'm curious to have a conversation with her about this poem afterwards, because I've read through it and I've thought about it a little bit. Yeah, I'm curious to have a chat with her about it. Yeah. So, I can report back.
And what's your relationship with your mom like? Are you guys friends? Are you frenemies? Are you like do you call each other every day? Like, or are you like, yeah, you can stay over there?
Yeah. No, I have a good relationship with my mum. I think she's an awesome lady. She's a very open-minded person. She loves to travel. And yeah, we probably talk every week or so. We live in different states in Australia. I live in Melbourne. She lives in a town called Mooloolaba in the Sunshine Coast. And yeah, so like we love to chat. But not without our ups and downs. But
Yeah. What's
it's
the
all mums.
worst thing you guys have ever I'm just kidding. Tell me, what's the most traumatic
NDA
thing
won't let me.
that's ever... I like to start out with like, so what questions should I not ask you about?
That's a good question.
But it
That's
kind
one
of
of
tricks
them.
them into talking about it. So
Yeah.
no discussing parental trauma.
Please.
Nobody wants to hear that. Maybe they do. I don't know. Would you like to read the poem for us?
Okay, let's see how we go.
I like the idea of reading a poem twice.
Yeah.
Because reading it once, you kind of like get an impression of it, and then going back in, it's kind of like it really lets you appreciate it in a way that like sometimes when you're reading a poem, it can be a little abstract, and so you're not necessarily sure what to hold on to, and until you get to the end, and then like reading it again is like it almost like makes you appreciate it. Of like, it's like, okay, I get what they've done. Now I can kind of like feast.
Yeah.
So if that's okay for reading it twice, will I have to pay you extra for that?
Yes. Pay me double.
Yeah, I'm paying you in Australian dollars.
Australia, yeah, it's not worth as much. Okay, let's see. All right, The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. Don't tell my mum I made the mistake. Okay. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down at one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day, yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference.
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, Rob.
Go Rob.
I was reading something about how apparently like this poem was written as like a joke.
So I was reading about the history of it. It's like apparently he would go on these walks with his friend who was also a poet, and the friend would always have trouble deciding which path to take, and it became a bit of a thing every time they would come to 2 paths in a wood. Which way do we go? Because the friend would always lament the choice that he didn't make, and so this is it's kind of written as a bit of a like, oh, look at you, what are you doing? You're always questioning these things, and thinking about the other path, even though you've chosen one. And the friend misunderstood the purpose of the poem.
Oh, okay. That's, yeah.
And thought that it was saying, like, take, the less trodden path is the important path to take in life. You should go against the grain. Whereas really, it's sort of just saying, like, the path that you take is the path,
Yeah.
But the friend, apparently there was like lots of letters back and forth between them, and the friend was not understanding the point of the poem. And I think that's happened ever since. I think people misunderstand it from what I've read.
I like both versions though. Like I think both it's like a nice reflection on on either, where it's like I think that it is important to try something new and go on an adventure. And I mean, like the one less traveled, I guess, implies that not many people have gone on it. But is that what he was saying, that like his friend didn't get, that that's not what it was about? It was just like, just walk.
Yeah, basically.
Dumbass.
I think it's kind of about, and it's also about once you've made a decision, that is the decision that you've taken. You can't always be thinking about, oh, what if I'd done this and I had a better life? Because that's the way that the friend...
Sliding doors.
Yeah, sliding doors, exactly.
GP.
Yeah, and I'm terrible at making decisions. So I feel like this speaks to me in that way as well. It's sort of like you just need to get over the point of making the decision, and then, you know, that's the important thing, is just to make a decision.
Yeah, I think when I was younger, I would just kind of have that dread of like, you know, it's like, I think we get that from reading those, did you ever read those, what are they
Choose
called?
Your Own Adventure
Yeah. And you're like,
Yeah.
I just don't want to end up like in the tunnel where it's like, well, you chose this and then the tunnel collapsed and you're like, oh no.
Absolutely.
But I mean, we really have no other, like you can't know what's a choice is going to make a result in. So I guess just like, have fun.
It's true, yeah. And just because
responsibly,
you know, of course, and just because a path has not been taken, it doesn't. I mean, just you don't have to just take the untaken path. Like, there's nothing wrong with taking a path that other people have taken before. It's kind of, you know, at the surface level version of the poem, I think.
Yeah. I think that like the Sagittarius in me is like, no. That sounds boring. Also, who knows? I mean, I'm sure everybody has a sense of adventure in them. It's not just because of my birthday.
I guess, yeah. It's interesting. I think it's very binary to look at decisions as right or wrong. And I just don't think that that's the case, to be honest. Yeah. I feel like you can never know, you know, there's no right or wrong. You always have done the best in the situation with the information that you have to make a decision.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What has been like, are you able to like harken back to any big decisions that you've made that were like big moments for you? Were like, oh, I'm really happy about that one.
I feel like negativity bias means that I remember the poor choices mostly. But yeah, I feel like choices to leave your life and go traveling or go do something different has always been a really positive choice for me personally.
Same. I mean, look at us here right now. We're doing it.
Travelers. But also, like, there was one time where I debated really a lot about what job to take in this situation. I had 2 potential jobs that I could take, and I felt like I chose the wrong one in the end. Yeah.
Oh no.
But also, I guess that means you won't make that decision again when faced with a similar situation.
And it's like we can't win all the time, you know? Like, it wouldn't be fair if you were just, like, making great decisions all the time with no mistakes. Like,
absolutely.
It's not fair for the rest of us. It's like when somebody's really hot and they have, like, really bad breath, you're like, good. Like, they need something to, like, bring it, you know, humility.
Level, yeah.
But, yeah, I like when you first started traveling, I know like travel in other parts of the world is maybe a little bit more seen as like normal, whereas in the US they seem like they're afraid of everywhere and they're like, you're traveling by yourself? Oh my gosh, like that's crazy. You're gonna get taken. And for me, it was a decision where I was just like, I'm so bored with just doing the same thing all the time that like, I don't care if I get kidnapped, I'm gonna go somewhere. It's like, you kind of get past a point of just so much like monotony that like anything sounds like a good idea. And I'm so happy I did, because like travel has been one of my favorite things in life, and I've met like some of my favorite people. And yeah, and it's just like such an enriching, great thing to like just walk somewhere else and
go to a supermarket in a different country. It's so much fun.
Right?
Yeah.
I know. I love the like any sort of like Asian supermarket, like everything is packaged to look like candy. Yeah. So I especially love that because I love candy. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm like, ooh, it's like sponges.
I love all that stuff. And just, you know, like in some parts of the world, like the cheese aisle is huge. And in other
Yeah?
places, there's
Where's
like
the
no.
biggest cheese aisle that you
France.
found? Well, yeah.
Definitely France. Yeah. I remember just being shocked because it was way bigger than the meat aisle. And in Australia, the meat aisle is the king of the aisles.
Yeah.
In the cold section.
Do
Anyway.
they have like a whole aisle of like kangaroo meat?
Not a
Or is
whole
that like
aisle.
a small section?
Yeah, it's just probably a small section.
What's
yeah.
the-
I'm a
what's-
vegetarian, so I wouldn't know, but I assume it's a small
Like
section.
asking the vegetarian questions
Yeah.
about meat.
Ask me more.
Tell me
Filet
everything
mignon.
That sounds like like something that you'd say to like enlighten me.
Yeah.
Filet mignon about it.
It does. Do not speak French.
No comprendre. Pas du
Non.
comprendre. Non.
No.
No. Besides jobs, like bad decisions, have you thought of anything good that was like moments that you were proud of, like the decisions that you made?
I feel like overall it's pretty positive. You
Yeah.
know, I haven't made any like real earth-shattering, fuck up kind of mistakes where, I look back on it and, okay, I guess you got to go with the flow with these things and just go kind of, I'm in a good place now. I'm here because of all of the many, many millions of decisions I've made across my life, I suppose.
Yeah.
I
feel like I kind of like came from an upbringing where it was more emphasized, like make the right choices in your life will kind of like turn out this way. Where like, sure, that's true. And it's good to be like responsible. And I know that that's like instilled in me positive values. And I'm like, my house is clean and I'm not like crazy in debt. And like, I'm not on a ditch somewhere doing, heroin or yet.
never.
But yeah, I think that you can like make good decisions and like be intentional and smart and stuff. But it really does like trip me out that it's all so random and like everybody's doing their best at all times. 'Cause like, you might be doing a shitty job, but like that's as much as you can give in that moment.
Yeah.
But like, it's terrifying to think, you could just like snap and like murder someone someday and that's your life. Like I was watching this documentary about that happened and that's why it came up in my head. That
was dark.
Candy where she's just like looking for romance and then like they just get like swept up and ends up doing some crazy shit.
Don't do that.
Yeah. But they were really like closeted and stifled and like just didn't listen to their natural like instincts, and it's all that like what's that called when you're kind of like uptight?
Yeah.
Or I can't remember. We'll edit this part out.
Okay.
Yeah, but like, like there's people that have like made decisions that have really sucked, and I'm really grateful to say that also I haven't fucked up too bad.
Decision making wise, anyway. Yeah. I guess, yeah. And I suppose also talking about decisions, I mean, I was at a party back home a couple of months ago, and I ended up in a very long discussion with this guy about free will and whether free will exists and whether you even have choice over your decisions at all, or whether everything is kind of predetermined.
Yeah.
I'll have to Google that.
Calvinism and Arminianism, or it's the belief that like God makes all the decisions, or like that you make all the decisions. But
well,
it's kind of an unarguable argument because like you just can't know.
100%. The way that it was being described to me by this guy was you don't ever have free will because you would only ever make that choice given that exact set of circumstances that's happening to you in that moment. So like the reason I'm traveling is because of all of these little things that led up to that point, and I would have always done that. There's no, and I was trying to argue against him, but at a certain point, what's the but I think there is potentially I guess no choice is ever exactly 50-50, is it, about which way it could go.
Yeah.
Or very, very rarely.
Yeah, I've been doing gardening and what are those nasturtiums? Those things just go everywhere. And there's like certain plants that do that. And you can like pin them up and direct them. Like I have this jasmine plant out there that I'm trying to train to go over the railing. And it is crazy how just like meditating on what that plant is doing and how it relates to us. It's so like that where it's like you can be kind of vining around and you could get squished or run over or like redirected or like just start growing in like a weird direction and overall the plant is still blooming and outstretching and stuff, and I feel like that's kind of like humans are like that, but they're just like disconnected from the root, but we're all just kind of like, what if I try this? Like kind of dispersed and random and but all still kind of existing in the soup of the human plant. It really is like we're like an organism that's spreading.
Yeah.
And we're all like connected in different ways, and like we have like mental, physical, and like spiritual connections, but yet exist in this kind of like you're on your own. It's random. Like hope you choose the path, the good path. But it's so random, and it kind of like takes the pressure off a little bit because you're like, well, I'm gonna try my best, but I could fucking get like eaten by a bear. Who knows?
That's true. Yeah, you can't plan for everything, can you?
Yeah. No.
Yeah. What about you? How do you find decision making?
I feel like I usually kind of know what I want pretty specifically, but yeah, it's always like I feel like the thing that always stops me is what is the result gonna be, or am I ready for the result yet? And then that's kind of like the thing that I struggle with, where it's like when to say that right thing, or like when is the right time to like move to Spain. Like is like, am I throwing everything away here if I do that? Am I going to be happier in another place if I restart? Am I going to be too tired to do that because like I'm tired here and now? And it's kind of just like knowing what I'm ready for, but also there is like unknowns.
I think regret about like knowing that you'll have regret if you don't take a decision can be helpful in making a decision. You go, would I regret it if I didn't do that thing that I've been talking about for this many years? Like, you're thinking about it for a reason.
like last night.
What do you mean?
We were talking about flirting.
Oh yeah, yes.
Yeah. Just initiating. I do find that
I'm okay.
I have to do this for the camera just so it looks like I'm not hogging it.
I'm good. I've already been there.
Oh.
Not there.
One of the things that has brought me a lot of like comfort and stability is poetry, and knowing that no matter what I do, I can write about it. And no matter what decision I make in life, like I will be able to derive some sort of story out of it or a reaction and be able to use that as my art. And which it sounds so douchey saying that because that's like, but it is what I enjoy. So to be able to do something that I enjoy, it makes the decision making a lot easier because it's like, if it's not this, it's something else, but like at least there's a variety, at least there's something happening and something changing, and the idea that I can just like have an opinion about it and feel a certain way about it and listen to that and derive. Like I wrote a poem about being on the train and stuck next to like a stinky guy.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, this sucks, but it's giving me
Fodder.
a story to tell.
Yeah.
It's like bad dates
Mm-hmm.
where you're like, well, this is going to be, I'm staying for the story at this point.
Yeah. I mean, it's a fun way to live your life, right?
Yeah.
Is to do things for the story. I mean, you
Yeah.
know, you can do that in a bad way, not living authentically. But
Ooh, yeah.
yeah, I think a little bit of doing things for the story it can make life a bit more fun, bit of sprinkle of zest, you know?
Yeah. It makes it an adventure every day.
It does, yeah.
Do you have any fun times that you've been like, or any like dates that you've stayed on for the story, or times when you were just like, oh, this is gonna be good?
That's an interesting question. I did go out on a date with somebody who was from Utah, and he just like walked up to me on a university campus in Melbourne and was like, let's go grab a coffee. And I said yes. And
that
then,
was like the first thing that he said to you.
Yeah,
It's just like hi, not like
I was a bit bamboozled, I think, by the brashness. I was like, okay, yeah. And he's definitely looking for wives. Yeah.
wives multiple because of polygamy.
I got that vibe. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. I guess I continued on that day. It was a weird one. It just kept happening.
How's the coffee? Did you go with him to coffee?
Yes, we went for coffee. And I've worked out pretty quickly that our interests did not align.
What was the first beat that you were like, red flag?
I feel like he asked me a lot about family and about like family values and stuff like that. That went in quite early, and I was like,
how's your womb? Is it fertile?
yeah, super
Space
subtle
available?
stuff like that. Yeah.
When was the date of your last period? Uh-huh.
Oh God, can you imagine?
Can I measure your hips real quick?
Please no. So no, I finished my coffee pretty quickly and got out of there. But yeah, that is one of the few times.
See, I think like the point when it's like the good point to stay for the story is like, yeah, go ahead and measure my hips. But yeah, I'll fill out your chart.
Yeah, just height. Get it all in there, you know.
Yeah.
Would you mind stepping on this scale?
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we read the poem again?
Yeah. Well, I did want to point something out. What I find interesting about it says that the two roads are the same in the poem.
Oh.
And I think that that's like part of the thing that trips people up. It says, just as fair. Both were just as fair. One was slightly grassier than the other. It says that they had worn they had worn about the same, the both of them. And it said, in leaves no step had trodden black, which is like nobody has walked over the leaves and made them black by trotting on them. So nobody's walked down either of these paths today.
Oh.
They're both the same. The only difference is that one of them has a bend in it. And so he's like, oh, I'm not sure about the bend way. I guess we'll go the other way because it's more of a clear path. So it's not like one of these is overgrown and that's the path that is less trodden in a metaphorical sense. They're both about the same. It is interesting.
It's like you're saying the path less trodden, like not like that less people have trodden it. It's like just that these are the paths.
Yeah.
The path that is trodden.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Rob, you
Rob.
tricky little devil.
Robbie.
Robbie. Is that offensive if I do an Australian accent? Nah.
Only if I could do your American
Yeah,
accent.
let's see it. This is like the thing that everybody does with like people that are from different places.
Yeah.
Okay, now you do me.
Actually, let's stick away from the rude international stereotyping. We're above that.
Yeah.
Plus, I can't do an American accent.
Wait, try.
Try. Oh my God. Try.
Okay, Matt. Kim.
Kimmy, Kimmy, look at more.
Kimmy, look at more.
Yeah.
Dan Trodden. This is Dan
Dean Trodden?
Trodden.
Downtrodden? That's not how I say it.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll edit that part out. We'll CGI that part out. We'll CGI accent, like real accents in either of our mouths.
Just put Kim and Kath on our heads.
Oh God,
Cover them up.
I love them so much. Kath and Kim.
Yeah.
My soulmates.
Okay.
Okay, so we're reading this again. Is there anything that we should like listen for, do you think? Or feel or like dwell on?
Just like, just try and understand it, really. I'm still working on it. I'm getting it every time. I'm understanding it more.
I learned something that I didn't know before.
I forgot the end of the story. Oh my God.
What story?
The story. So the story about the friend, Robbie's friend. So he receives the letter with like a letter with this poem enclosed, and he gets the wrong idea about it and thinks that, you should go off and make a choice and go the path less trodden. And so he enlists into the Second World War.
No.
Which he wouldn't have done otherwise. Everybody was very surprised about this. But his indecision about things, this kind of poem pushed him into making that decision, people reckon. It was part of his decision-making process. And, he went to war and died, leaving his wife and children without a father. Yeah, it's a bit of a bummer there.
You just made like the funniest face that it was
I think because I got so excited about telling you the end of the story, I then forgot quite how sad it was.
He died.
Yeah.
Oh man,
So that's a shame.
Well, maybe he died saving somebody.
Well, yeah, he got shot to death in the belly. Yeah.
That's very specific.
I googled it before we got Yeah, I have been on Wikipedia.
Oh. Well, it was Nazis were bad, so I guess good for him for defending
100%. First World War
people. Oh, I don't know much about the First World War.
It's not important.
But nobody else does.
This is not a history podcast. Yeah.
No.
It was in the trenches though. It was
Oh, poor guy.
I reckon.
Maybe you know what? Maybe he's a tree now.
Probably.
Maybe he's grown into a nasturtium plant.
Yeah. But, he made a decision, I guess, and the whole thing is about indecision. Yeah. So I guess he made the right decision for the moment.
There's a Sylvia Plath poem that I'll send you if you haven't read it yet. Oh, here's your next poem.
There you go.
It's about it's the one about like standing before a fig tree. Do you know that one?
I think so.
And it's basically like I'm standing here waiting to find like the most perfect fruit that's like, the one that I pick, and then as you're deciding, the fruit on the tree rots by the time you find the thing, and it's compared a lot to like romantic partnerships, but also it could be anything. But I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah,
I think you'll like it. It's a very like, oh right, yeah, I just need to fucking like do something.
Yeah, I guess. Poetry can be a useful tool in, if there's something in your life that you're not really sure about or you're struggling with, it could be helpful to read other people's viewpoints on it to help you. And decision making is a problem for me, so I feel like maybe that would be helpful to read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I find that poetry is almost like it's a way to convey truth in a personal way that's like, which is the most truthiness is something that somebody knows personally, and so I feel like it is a nice it's less like religion-y and like you have to believe this. It's just like, this is what I felt, and there's no, you can't disagree with somebody if they were like, this is how I felt, but you can relate to it, and I think that that's beautiful, and that helps me is hearing how somebody else felt rather than somebody telling me how to feel. So
Absolutely.
I love
Yeah.
I like poetry. And I think you will too.
Yeah, absolutely. I
Yeah.
got space in my life for some poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It worked.
I want to be that person.
Yeah. Ooh, maybe I'll send you some poetry.
Yeah, please do.
On your travels.
You can add it onto the screen now. All of the
Click here.
oh, right there.
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here. Would you like to make anything else appear on the screen?
Ooh.
In my hands?
Ooh, maybe like a puppy?
Oh, wow.
Beautiful.
We'll CGI that in there.
Yeah. We've got budget.
It's going to be like a really lo-fi
Yeah.
CGI.
Clip art.
Yes. That's what I know how to do.
Yeah. That works.
That's great. I love it. Can you read this for us?
Let's see.
More?
Let's see if I can. All right. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. I'll try that again. The Road Not Taken by Robert Frost. 2 roads diverged in a yellow wood, and sorry I could not travel both. And be one traveller, long I stood, and looked down one as far as I could, to where it bent in the undergrowth. Then took the other, as just as fair, and having perhaps the better claim, because it was grassy and wanted wear, though as for the passing there, had worn them really about the same. And both that morning equally lay, in leaves no step had trodden black. Oh, I kept the first for another day. Yet knowing how way leads on to way, I doubted if I should ever come back. I shall be telling this with a sigh, somewhere ages and ages hence. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference.
Yeah, it's like it's such a different poem when you kind of know the other intentions of it.
Yeah,
and it makes
it is,
it
isn't
like
it?
really cheeky, which I always thought
Yes.
it was kind of more like
A pretty serious, like,
Yeah.
straight reading. I think
and
because...
it's just kind of like fuck
yeah. I think it's because it has that very famous last few lines. 2 roads diverged in a wood, and I took the one less travelled by, and that has made all the difference. It's like, put it on a t-shirt, kind of.
taken out of context though.
Yeah, it is taken out of
Yeah.
context completely. And it's such a short poem. It's not, hard to read, but it's funny that that sort of shortened version, has probably been told to people as advice many times over.
Yeah.
But it's not really the meaning.
But it's also, I think what it is like they see some sort of truth in that. It's like even taken out of the context of the overall poem, like it still resonates in its own way, even though it's like not it's like iridescent or something.
Yeah, I think people are always going to take meaning out of things in whatever way they, need.
Yeah.
But I suppose what it's saying to me is like, it's not so much about choosing the road that's less traveled, like the thing that people don't do. It's more about just making a decision, because you don't know until afterwards how that decision panned out from where you're standing and looking.
Yeah, you'll never
it could be
know.
equally, yeah. It could be a better, they could be a worse. They could be equally the same.
I have a really important decision for you to make right now.
Yes.
What sounds good for dinner?
Bagel. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I like to do? You know what helps me make a decision with that is like, how do I want to feel after I eat? And that really is
man. I've never
like
thought to do
hop,
that before.
skip, and a jump because it's like what sounds good, but then you eat it and you're like, ugh.
Yeah.
But it's like, do I want to feel like tired, light? Do I want to, go out in the town? Because that's really what you want to do sometimes.
Absolutely.
But sometimes, you just want to fucking eat that grilled cheese sandwich with the bacon on it and go ham, literally.
Yeah, absolutely.
No meat, though.
No meat.
Fake meat.
Yeah, fake meat only. And nothing that will make me feel sick because I've got to get on a flight tonight at an ungodly hour. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I'm flying to Mexico tonight.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I love that, though. I love that
Sounds
for
pretty
you.
cosmopolitan, yeah.
Yeah, look at you, lady.
Why not?
Pack me in your suitcase.
I mean, I have only 10 kilos, but...
I think
We
I
can
might
get you in there.
weigh a little more than that. Oh wait, are you trying to weigh me now?
I would never. I would never.
That's another question
Yeah.
that you can't ask. Family trauma.
Yes. How much do you weigh?
How much do you weigh?
Yeah.
Like how? Like, are you pregnant? And how much money do you have?
Yeah. Add it to the list.
Yeah.
Immediately.
Ooh. Where should we eat? What are you feeling like? What sounds good, and how do you want to feel?
I do have 2 bagels. We can just eat those.
I feel like I might need a little bit more than bagels.
Okay. That's sad
And
for
I
you.
feel like it's your last night, so you should try at least one other food thing.
It's just a matter of timing.
Yeah.
I suppose. Yeah.
What time is it? Oh wait.
My new watch, Night Vision.
Oh my gosh.
It is 4:37.
Oh yeah,
PM.
we've got time.
Yeah,
This
we
watch
do.
has been like the co-star of your whole trip.
really has.
It really has been a shining emblem. Should we get them to sponsor?
Yes, Freestyle watches.
Yeah,
USA.
Shark.
Yes, this is the Shark version. Shark clip.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you. It's very
We've been
fun.
telling time all week.
And dates.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple,
So many.
cross continents.
Ooh.
Let's go get some food.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm happy that we were able to do this, that we had the
Yeah.
energy, because we just
Absolutely.
were both a little hungover,
Just a touch.
because we had fun last night,
Yeah, we did.
and tequila
Yeah.
and
Shot.
dancing. Shots. I'm really sad that you're leaving.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I'm happy that we spent this time together.
Yes. Thank you for
and-
making some time for me.
Yeah,
I appreciate it.
always.
Yeah.
And
thank
I
you.
will get to Melbourne when next year. Let's say next year. That'll be my goal
yeah.
for a travel trip.
Amazing. I can't wait.
Me too. Well, can we hug
Yes,
to
of
wrap
course
it
we
out
can.
in our gear? And we do like a little bit of a longer hug, because it just, you need a second to let it like sink in. Oh, you cracked my back. That was great. Yeah.
I'm a qualified chiropractor.
Really? Why have I not known this whole time?
Have you ever been onto the Wikipedia page for chiropractic? It is a dark ride.
What?
Yeah. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, you should go read it. Yeah.
What, is the thing?
It's, bunch of people have died due to chiropractic
Oh,
work.
yeah.
It's super
'Cause they're
unlicensed. And there's a big crossover between chiropractic and anti-vaxxers. It's really fascinating. It's completely unlicensed. Yeah. Go read up.
If I can get out of here. Oh, I'm going to stretch. Stretch and eat. All right. Well, I think that's it. I hope this was
everybody.
recording.
Yeah, me too.
Because it was really good.
But if not, you've good practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just voice over your voice.
Oh, yeah, please.
In the thing and be
Hello.
like, G'day. Hello. Okay, bye.